What's the success to a no-dig garden? Is it mycelium? Is it compost worms? Is it fungi? Is it the whole combination of the soil web? Well, yes. If you answer the last one, it's the combination. And the first thing we need to really get things breaking down is mycelium in the garden. And it is so important for no-dig success. I want to show you what's happening in my garden now because it's really, really exciting. I want to talk about how I'm doing that. And you can actually implement these tips and tricks and procedures and things in your garden journey so you can get, no-dig gardening. All right, let's go. Bale here and we're ready to talk about mycelium, but first let's get a joke. I've got a mushroom joke for you. So why is the mushroom always the first one invited to the party? Because he's a fungi. Crazy, right? So mycelium, been dealing with it a little bit off and on and learning about it more really through the introduction of worm farming. The first time I ever visited what I believe to be the best farm I've ever seen, still an avocado farm, which is a biodynamic farm. And I learnt about microbes, things my teacher said, oh, the guy that runs this place, he's a great farmer. He runs all these farms around here now, successful in that way, but he believes in pixies and fairies and all this type of stuff. And this is before they had the science to really measure these things. Now they know they can actually take the sugars out of a fungi, some fungi out of the ground, or some mycelium, somehow get the DNA, and then check 12 kilometers down and find that it's interconnected and still joined, and the possibility that it's sharing sugars from plant to plant. And I've got a story about that I'm going to share a little bit later. But what I'm doing here is I'm building no-dig gardens, right? I built one down at my last place at North Haven on the Camden Haven. On sand, did really well. Here I'm on clay. And it's really, really heavy clay and the place is just full of weeds. But we're getting there, and I'm building from the top down, just like it would in nature, right? Just as sort of like God's creation does. Drops leaves and sticks and twigs and things like that and builds carbon on the surface floor and then breaks that down, and it just creates this cycle of up and down, up and down. Well, just speeding things up by throwing some bales on top or some carbon on top. Now you don't have bales, you can do this just with like piles of wood chip and all different types of stuff. You just need a carbon material. But I use sugarcane, straw, grass, whatever I can get hold of. They've all got their quirks and some of them have seeds and different things in them, but I find that overall they work pretty good. And I planted some out around about 3 weeks ago, and so might be going on a month. I didn't write it down, but the mycelium's already in. And so what I've been doing is I've been liquid feeding the plants with just like a half solution of a 12% nitrogen. So it would end up being around about 6% or something like, between 4 and 6, I guess, but weak solution. And sometimes like in the morning and then sometimes again in the evening, and not enough to burn. So weak that it wouldn't even burn a seedling. So, but just more regularly, because on the bales they dry out quickly, that sort of thin layer of compost along the top. You get a few warm days and stress plants out, and so we go out and water a bit often. And every time like the plants haven't connected up to the soil web yet, there's no soil web, so whatever's in that top layer is where the nutrition is, and when it hits the water, the plants are sucking it up through the roots and grabbing the nutrients that way. So by liquid feeding on the top, I'm actually feeding the whole system as it sort of goes down. And I didn't think it would work that fast, but we had a bit of rain and a bit of humidity, and boom, out come the mycelium. And this is the part of getting started for fungal networks, which I'm really excited about and what I'm setting up here in my space. So I create what we call worm microbe highways. So I join everything up and link it all up. So there's like mulch paths and things like that, and worm farms connected together, and gardens all join. And so like if a worm gets out, he can fall underneath the compost and then hit underneath a bit of mulch and cruise and make it to the next worm farm, or under another bit of mulch, and not be taken out by a bird or something like that. Just creating these little sort of highways. And actually, so they're above and below the ground, right? Because the fungal systems can move through quickly, because I'm feeding that with carbon and nitrogen and things like that, and just building them up slowly. And it's like a mathematics thing. Once you get going, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 4 is 16, we go on, and it just expands out. Before you know it, the things are just going absolutely just awesome. And so that's the system that I'm working on here. And the mycelium that is growing out of these bales is just unreal. It looks like snow. And you see like some videos where they're using mycelium now to make different types of leathers and plastics and things. It's the new plastic, mycelium, right? And you touch it, and my daughter can't want to touch it, but it feels sort of like almost like a rubbery leather sort of thing. And I'm really into it, and I'm really sort of excited about it. And I want to share, because look, I'm not a soil scientist, and I've got some information in here from a very good website, and very reputable, and I want to read out what I've got in here. Now, I know this isn't for everyone, it's not that exciting, it's not like super sexy and all that stuff, but again, have I forgot my glasses? Probably have. I will be back in 5 seconds, but don't leave, because you really want to hear what's going on. I want the proof in the pudding, and I'm going to leave a link down below to this article as well, so you can check it out a bit more. I'll be back in 5 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Now, as I said, this is a reputable website. So, Kew Royal Botanical Gardens, mycelium, exploring hidden dimensions of fungi. And this sort of goes over a lot what I've been talking about in the past and sort of into now. And you can see here, if you can see that image there, looks something very similar to what I've got in my garden. It says, when you think of fungi, the first image that pops into your head is probably a mushroom. But there's so much more to fungi. In the soil, hidden beneath our feet, and even inside animals and plants, under the reproductive structures, as we know as mushrooms, truffles or crusts, lie a hidden part of the fungus mycelium. Here we unearth the secrets behind this underground network of fungal filaments. Let's see if you can see some of those pictures there. Look at that. That's the top one. I'll get the top one there. It's just awesome stuff. And it says, so what is mycelium? Well, you might have seen mycelium before as a fuzzy white, green or black mass growing on mouldy food, blue cheese or salami. But out in the wild, mycelium is more than just the sign of an outdated sandwich. It's a whole network of thin fungal strands called hypophae. Now, I may have got that wrong. Now, if you're into mycelium and you think it's a part of the future of fungal networks and organic gardening and all that funky stuff, let us know in the comments box down below. Maybe you've had some experience with it. I'd love to hear from you. The mycelium has a similar function in fungi to the roots of plants. The hyphae, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, explore the soil or any other substrate where fungi are growing and secrete digestive enzymes onto their food source, often dead organic material and sometimes living organisms. These enzymes break down the matter into smaller parts that feed not only the fungi, but also their plant partners and many other organisms. They can also ferment food, increasing palatability. In fact, the process of breaking down organic matter is critical in maintaining healthy soil, recycling leaf litter, and providing food to the vast array of bacteria and animals that soil call home. Mycelia networks can be both large and small. Most are microscopic, but some fungal species can also grow to colossal sizes. In the United States, an Amaryllia oysterei growing underneath the Mahula, hopefully I'm getting this pronounced right, National Forest in Oregon is estimated to cover almost 10 square kilometers, making it one of the largest single organisms in the world. Have a look at that, my friends. 10 square kilometers. Now, I'm going to leave a link down below for this, right? Keep on listening. This stuff is the bomb. And if you want to know about no-dig gardening and you really want to expand out and get this going, this is what you need to know. So, making the connection. The mycelium also plays a crucial role in fungal reproduction. The mycelia of two compatible fungi can fuse together, allowing the cells of each fungus to combine to their DNA to mix. After fusing, the cells end up in new spores held inside like in truffles, or exposed outside like a mushroom and crust. The fungus reproductive structures. This is essentially how some fungi have sex when the environmental conditions are right. Many fungi reproduce from spores. These tiny seed-like structures are transported by wind or animals. When they land on the ground, they germinate and grow, forming new mycelium. Fungi can also split their mycelium off into smaller fragments and then go on to form independent mycelium networks. And then it goes into the underground network. It can create networks with plant roots through the mycelium. Fungi can partner with the plant roots, including trees, creating a cross-kingdom web known as mycorrhizal, meaning fungus networks. The network can benefit everyone involved. Through photosynthesis, trees and other plants produce sugars and fats, which the fungi can get roots from, which the fungi can get from roots into their mycelium. In turn, the fungi help the trees and plants absorb water and nutrients from the soil well beyond the reach of their roots and root hairs. How awesome is that? Like, when you're reading through this, it just gets better and better. So the whole thing is interconnected, and once we've got plants growing and photosynthesizing through the leaves and then producing sugars down in the ground, it's fed into that network, the fungal network, and it's feeding that whole soil web. And in turn, the soil web will then provide nutrients to the plants. This is how forests and things grow. When we're going, well, hang on, they're not throwing out fertilizer there, they're not mulching there, they're not doing this. It's the soil web, guys. And when we're creating no-dig gardening, what we want to do is we want to take care of it. We are caretakers of that soil web. We are feeding that soil. We're taking care of that soil. And this is what I'm doing here, and this is what I'm teaching. I'm just speeding up the process by adding worm farms, compost systems, worm farming, carbons into things such as bales and different things like that, and creating a system that's interconnected, that's going to feed this. Now, above the ground is the birds, the insects, all the different animals that work together in harmony to keep away the bugs and insects and things like that, such as forms of companion planting. And that's sort of going into it a bit further. But I wanted to share with you today my experience so far, let you know about mycelium and fungi, so you can start thinking and planning ahead. It's always about future planning, and then once you get going with these no-dig systems, it's not a lot of hard work, and it's just a wonderful way to grow food. Now, if you're loving what's going on here at Marty's Garden, I know it's not exciting, it's not going to create the super 1 million video views and all that type of stuff, but the education is solid, and trying to add a bit of a fun element in here as well, guys, to, you know, make it fun for me and for you, and we can grow a lot of fresh food at home. Have a great day, happy everything, and we'll see you at the next video real soon. Oh, there'll be another one floating around here. Make sure you check that out, share it, and subscribe before you go if you haven't already. Bye for now. How much space does fungi need to grow? As mushroom as possible.